Dr. King Jr. Day is coming up on Monday, and there are celebrations of Dr. King throughout Southeast Wisconsin beginning this weekend. The 27th annual Milwaukee MLK prayer service is tomorrow afternoon at St. Martin de Porres Parish at 2nd and Burleigh. And Celia Jackson is the featured speaker, and she's here to share a little bit about her message this afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely, it's my pleasure.
So, your message that you are sharing tomorrow is actually, your inspiration was Dr. King, right? One of his speeches?
Oh, absolutely. And it's interesting because it's a part two. So I spoke at the prayer service for Dr. King 2 years ago in 2016. And it was on his last sermon, actually, on March 31st of 1968, so almost 50 years ago, remaining awake during a great revolution. And so the committee invited me to come back and do a part two. Well, a lot has happened since January of 2016. Here we are in January 2018. So in that particular sermon, he talks about a triple revolution, looking at technology, looking at weaponry, and looking at human rights.
And it's so amazing that he made that speech 50 years ago this year. And now it's still relevant.
Oh my gosh, it's so relevant. It's just amazing as I was preparing for this, how much has changed in just the 2 years since I started, since I first gave the speech. Looking at technology and how technology is used, looking at weaponry. I mean, he talked about nuclear weapons at that particular time, but of course we can talk about all of the violence on our streets, the terrorism, and of course the threat of nuclear war seems to be a constant conversation, much more so than it was even 2 years ago. And then human rights. I mean, we always are in the battle for human rights. So those issues remain very relevant today.
And you're tackling all three. What are the main points that you want to drive home to people who make it?
I think one of the main points that I want to drive home is we just can't stop fighting. I mean, I think that these issues are always upon us. It requires us to stand up, to speak up, that we just cannot stay silent. And so even though things are not as they were 50 years ago, the issues and the topics remain relevant, and people cannot fall asleep. The name of this particular presentation is Awake, Do Not Be Deceived. We cannot close our eyes even for a minute because something dramatic may be happening in our world. And so I want people to know we have to stay awake, we have to stay vigilant, and we have to be willing to embrace all of humanity, because that was really the theme of Dr. King, to love one another in a nonviolent way.
And what a great way to celebrate his legacy, to just keep it moving with these conversations.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. And the 27th annual MLK prayer service is tomorrow at 1:30 again at St. Martin de Porres Parish. For complete information on the event, you can check out the links page on our website. Just head to tmj4.com.